Don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell and be the first to know when we drop a new video. Like and share with your fellow American patriots who love this country. And if you haven't even an American patriot, you are someone who believe and love freedom, love democracy, truth, and don't like corruption, hit the subscription button. Yes, right now you're looking at your thumbnail and we're telling you as a Jamaican, this is a sad day for us as Jamaican, especially law-abiding citizens who does not subscribe to the life of dishonesty and criminality. So now we're looking at a young man. His name, he's a grown man. His name is Sean Kingston, a rapper, and his mama has been found guilty of $1 million fraud, and they face up to 20 years in prison in America, federal prison. I can tell you that this case, I've never seen a case been disposed of by the court in such a hurry. Not even 4 months, he was arrested and is disposed of. So what about the other cases that were before this case? That goes to show you that the most important thing in life is not who's right, but what is right. And as it says, children live what they learn. The tragedy of a life shaped by dishonesty. So there's an old saying, children live what they learn. It is more than a proverb. It is a truth that echoes through generations. A child raised in an environment where deceit, shortcuts, and manipulation are normalized will often carry those behavior into adulthood, sometimes without even realizing that they were being conditioned to fail. As a Jamaican born and raised in a belly of beast, I can tell you that that's a part of the culture of us as Jamaican. Whether or not you want to believe it, some people won't tell you, but that's a culture. Uptown, downtown, round town. As Jamaican, we were conditioned, cultured, nurtured, domesticated to be dishonest, to be deceitful, and use shortcuts. All of us. Some just realize after a while and says, no, this is wrong. It end up in a problem. So in the case of Sean Kingston, the rapper, singer, the saying feel hauntingly accurate. The federal court may have delivered the verdict, but the seeds of his downfall were sown long before. His mother, Janice Turner, wasn't just a bystander in her son's life. She was, according to prosecutors and even the presiding judge, the architect of the scheme, described as the operator, fixer, and accountant of the luxury fraud ring. She orchestrated the crimes that now have both her and her son facing up to 20 years behind bar. And this is sad. So when you're a parent, you have to be a parent. Even if you're a criminal-minded person, you do not want to take your children down that path. She have been to prison already, and he said it. It's just sad. So it's hard to ignore generational influence here. A mother is often her child's first teacher, first protector, and first moral guide. But what happens when the moral compass is broken? When the lesson passed on are not those of decency, honesty, truthfulness, or ethics, but of deceit, exploitation, and evasion of consequences. Turner, a Jamaican by birth, seemed to reflect a mindset, sadly found in some corners of the diaspora, a dangerous belief that with enough cleverness, charm, and boldness, one can beat the system. This isn't unique to Jamaicans, of course, but in some cases, it's a cultural residue born out of colonial survival tactics and system where corruption often went unpunished and trickery was seen as a tool for success and a tool to say that you're smart and you beat the system. That mentality, when unchecked and unrefined, become poisonous, especially when passed on to a child. So that's why as parents, even if you are, even with these culture, anywhere you live in the world, don't pass it on to your children. It was imparted to us as Jamaicans. Most Jamaicans don't like to hear the truth, because when I speak with authority and I tell it as it is. Whether or not you want to believe, uptown, downtown, round town, country, everywhere, this is the culture that they have been imparted to us, dishonesty and deceit. So it's hard to find someone from Jamaica who's willing, even when you tell somebody the truth, them vex with you, because this is a culture. And yet, we must ask, at what point does a man stop being a product of his upbringing and start taking responsibility for his own choices? That is when in time you decide, says, wrong is wrong, and right is right. It's not who's right, but what is right. And sometimes it's hard for people to really come to that conclusion. But it takes time. Sometimes some people do not get the chance to even get to change because of the culture. Kingston had an opportunity that millions of young men from disadvantaged background could only dream of. Fame, fortune, and a platform of influence to others. But instead of anchoring himself in integrity, he allowed himself to drift deeper into illusion, propped up by fraudulent practices and enabled by the very person who should have taught him better. Now he faces a grim future with a chronic heart condition and asthma. Prison is not just a punishment, it can become a death sentence. The federal system is really lenient when it comes to white-collar crime, especially when it's premeditated and involves millions in stolen goods and services. His medical issues, though real, may not spare him from the harsh reality of incarceration. The tragedy of it is that this didn't have to be his story. Had he practiced values like decency, honesty, morality, and ethics, had he rejected the flawless lesson passed down to him, he might have been remembered for his music, not his mugshot. So let this be a lesson to all. For all of us, especially parents, what you teach your children through words, action, and values you embody can define the entire trajectory of their life. Teach them integrity, and even if they stumble, they'll walk with their heads high. Teach them deceit, and they may run fast, but eventually they'll run out of road. God, that's how it is when dishonesty takes over your life. So the power of the media and the perception of black criminality in the United States. Many people, especially those who harbor negative biases against black individuals, fail to grasp the immense power wielded by the media in shaping public perception. Whether it's print journalism, cable television, or a vast reach of the internet, media can fundamentally alter how individuals are viewed in the court of public opinion. A person who is completely innocent can be portrayed as guilty, while someone who is truly guilty can be presented as a misunderstood victim and even an hero, depending on the narrative crafted and disseminated. Like Louis Magini, he's seen as an hero because he has done something that majority of Americans would like to do. This distortion even becomes more dangerous when compounded by racial bias. In the United States, black people have historically been, and continue to be, disproportionately portrayed as criminals, regardless of the facts. When a society is conditioned through decades of biased media representation to associate dark skin with criminality, it becomes increasingly difficult for black individuals to receive fair treatment, not just in the justice system, but in every facet of life. To be clear, this is not an argument that all guilty people are innocent and all innocent people are wrongly convicted. Justice, ideally, should be blind, but in reality, whether someone is treated as guilty or innocent often depends on where the alleged crime took place, the demographics of the jury, and the prevailing attitude in that community. In some parts of America, the legacy of racism still seeps into the foundation of legal proceedings, making it nearly impossible for a black defendant to receive an impartial trial. This is why understanding the role of the media and regional bias is essential. Without that awareness, society continues to judge, not based on facts or evidence, but on skin color and pre-packaged narrative. Justice cannot prevail in a system where perception is manipulated and bias is normalized. So Sean Kingston and his mother found guilty in a federal fraud case involving lavish lifestyle scheme. So Sean Kingston, the Jamaican American pop rap artist, best known for his 2007 breakout hit Beautiful Girls, and his mother, Janice Turner, were both found guilty on federal charges on Friday, March 28th, in a luxury goods case, fraud case that prosecutors describe as a calculated and elaborate scheme to deceive high-end retailers and service providers. $1 million joke money to some people in America. So the jury in Miami took just 3 hours to deliver a unanimous verdict convicting the duo on 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. Each count carry a maximum of 20 years in prison, placing both Kingston and Turner at risk of spending decades behind bars when they are sentenced this summer. A coordinated scheme of deception. In Miami-Dade County, the county, it's predominantly Hispanic. Hispanic are black people too, but they want to be called white Hispanic. That is like calling rain wet rain. So now they realize that Donald Trump put them in them place and let them know that they are brown people and they are N people too. Only thing is just that they're browner, clearer, but they want to be as white. So that's where so you know that majority of the jurors in this case are Hispanic. Yeah, and Hispanic, them they like black people. The only thing them like with black people are the football and basketball players and rappers. The only black person I've seen ever to beat a case in Miami is I'm looking at him right now. He used to play a wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins back in the 1990s. I know it's a Tony, I don't remember his last name, but I know that Jimmy Johnson, who was the head coach for the Dolphins, and Dan Marino went to court and testified on his behalf, and he was acquitted of all charges because they said without him the Dolphins cannot win the Super Bowl. Yes, a black man. I don't remember his name right now, but just talking about it to show you. And it was a solid case, good case though. The federal prosecutors had. But trust me, Dan Marino and Jimmy Johnson, back then in the 1990s, these people were gods in South Florida, because Dan Marino, one of the best quarterback, and then Jimmy Johnson, one of the best NFL coach. And at the time, the Dolphin was firing like on 20 cylinders. So that's what Tony Martin and the guy name. I think his name is Tony Martin. They saved him from going to prison for almost 20 years. He was charged with like a couple counts and he was acquitted just by Dan Marino and Jimmy Johnson. There was nothing that they said that he did not commit the crimes, But they said that if he's sent to prison, the team won't win the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, that was Tony Martin. If I'm wrong, I'll come back and correct it. So the federal case laid out a stunning narrative of deception orchestrated by Kingston and Turner, in which the mother-son pair allegedly used their celebrity status, fake financial documents, and false promises to acquire over-the-top luxury items they never intended to pay for. Among the goods and service obtained, a luxurious SUV, high-end jewelry, designer watches, and state-of-the-art wall-size television system. You can't do that. You can't get... Boy, I don't know how them do it. So prosecutors introduced damning evidence during the trial, including a falsified wire transfer confirmation, doctored receipt, and explicit text that appear to show the two coordinating the fraud. One key message sent from Kingston to his mother read, "I told you to make a fake receipt," following by, "So it looks like the transfer will be there in a couple of days." Man, documents always prove liars to be liars. Authorities argue that these messages reveal Turner's integral role as logistical mastermind behind the fraud. While Kingston and his fame and access to facilitate the scam, Turner, who has a prior criminal record, was described by the judge, the operator, the fixer, and the accountant, a central figure in the entire operation. What a wicked man. So following the verdict, the judge ordered Janice Turner into immediate custody, citing her previous conviction and dominant role in the fraudulent scheme. As she was escorted out of the courtroom, she turned to her daughter in the gallery, blew a kiss, and mounted "I love you," a poignant moment in an otherwise damning day for the family. Sean Kingston, 35, born Kisan Anderson, was placed on house arrest until his sentencing. The judge firmly denied a request from his legal team to allow him to travel to Texas for a scheduled performance, stating plainly he's not going anywhere. The judge could have let him go still, because I'm still out of prison. Make him go perform and at least have some money and can pay back, restitution to the people them, or something. So Kingston lawyers had pleaded with the court to avoid pre-sentencing detention, citing his heart condition and asthma. His sister and aunt stepped forward to offer financial guarantees for his release, $200,000 in bond money, and the deed to a family home as collateral. Despite these arguments, the judge appeared unmoved by any appeal for leniency based on health or fame. Prosecutors painted both Kingston and his mother as masters of deception and fraud, warning that their charm and celebrity had long shielded them from consequences until now. So they must come and con people a long time, and them just finally at the end of the road, no more road is there. From fame to federal courtroom, Kingston rise to stardom was meteoric, bursting onto the scene at the age of 17. His reggae-infused pop hit quickly found international acclaim. Collaborations with artists like Justin Bieber and Eenie Meenie only added to his fame and fortune. But prosecutors argued that behind the glitz and glamour, a much darker reality was unfolding. The defense attempted to capitalize on this narrative of humble beginning and sudden stardom, painting Kingston as financially naive and disconnected from the details of his own business dealings. He's a soft guy who grew up poor and rose to fame overnight, his attorney argued. He had no idea how to run a business and didn't even know how much money was in his bank account. However, the jury was unconvinced. The investigation into the scheme reached its peak in May 2024, when Broward Sheriff's deputies raided Kingston's sprawling Southwest ranch home in Florida. Property known for its extravagant features, including massive custom-built TV at the heart of the fraud claims. Kingston was arrested shortly after that raid while performing at Fort Irwin, a military training base in California, Mojave Desert. He waived his right to fight extradition and was returned to Florida to face federal charges. Sentences for both Kingston and Turner is scheduled for July 11th, with Turner hearing set for 9 a.m. and Kingston 11 a.m. In addition to their federal conviction, the pair are also facing similar state-level fraud charges, which could compound their legal troubles even further. Once hailed as a pop music prodigy, Kingston find himself facing the real prospect of spending the prime years of his life in federal prison. His mother, who once managed his affairs, may be facing an even harsher sentence due to her criminal history and her central role in the scheme. The case is a sobering reminder that fame and fortune do not exempt individuals from accountability, if anything. It raises serious questions about the culture of excess and impunity often found in celebrity circles, and the long shadow it casts when money, fame, fraud collided. Be careful what you envy. You don't know the story behind the shine. In a world obsessed with appearance, it's easy to fall into the trap of admiring or even envying the lifestyle of the rich and famous. The luxury cars, designer clothes, sprawling mansion, and VIP treatment all look glamorous from the outside. But here's the truth. Too many people ignore, never envy someone for the life they appear to be living, because you have no idea what they did or what they had to do to get there, or what they are doing to maintain it. Take the case of Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner. To the public, Kingston was living the dream, a successful artist with platinum hits, a lavish mansion in Florida, and access to upper echelon of the entertainment world. But behind that facade was a carefully constructed house of cards built on fraud, deception, and exploitation of system that often reward flash over substance. Now, with both mother and son convicted on multiple counts of wire fraud and conspiracy, the truths come crashing down. The same music industry that once helped propel Kingston to fame now seem to have turned a blind eye. And this raises an haunting question. Where are all the industry friends now? Where are the big names, collaborators and executives? The fellow artists who once stood beside him on stage and red carpets. You mean to tell me that in all of Hollywood, with its millionaires and billionaires, not one could step forward and post bail for Kingston? Not one PR producer or entity could have offered a public statement to show support? It is not just surprising, it's telling. Why he did not seek help for them to pay it before it reached this stage? He thought that he could con his way out, because that's how criminals, when you have a criminal mind, that's how people think. Whether it's due to fear of association with a federal case or a deeper commentary on how disposable black artists are in the entertainment machine. The silence is deafening. Sean Kingston, once a chart-topping star, now sit confined to house arrest with no lifeline from the very circles he helped enrich. And this brings us full circle. Envy is a dangerous game. What you see on the surface, a curated life of success and status, might be masking deep corruption, loneliness, and desperation. Some people chase wealth, not through hard work, but through manipulation, fraud, and exploitation. Others live beyond their means just to keep up an appearance. And when it all comes crashing down, the same people who applaud from the sidelines are nowhere to be found. So don't waste your energy wishing for someone else's life. You don't know their sacrifices. You don't know the lies they had to tell, the people they had to step on, or the laws they have to break to get there. What looks like a blessing could well be a curse in disguise. And for Sean Kingston, he may be one of the unluckiest black men in show business, not because of his legal downfall, but because in the moment of truth, he stood alone. Wealth can buy things, but it cannot buy loyalty. Fame can open door, but it doesn't guarantee freedom. And his story proves illusion without integrity is just another part of destruction. As I said before and I say again, there's no honest criminal, none. This is just a sad case for this man, Sean Kingston. The only thing we can do is wish him all the best. And we do believe in a redemption. But it's sad. Everything that happened to this man is because of his mother. Have yourself a beautiful day.